Another conversation. This conversation is geared towards the November elections. The gentleman who is joining me is none other than a Plymouth County Commissioner, Mr. Greg Hanley. He is seeking your vote to be reelected and retain Plymouth County, one of a few counties left in our great Commonwealth here. Welcome to the conversation, Greg.
Thank you, Kevin. It's always a pleasure to sit and chat with you. I find you to be one of the most professional journalists, and I'm not just saying that. You are truly someone that I enjoy talking to because you get it. So thank you for having me tonight.
So does that mean I have to call you Commish now from now on? The Commish?
I always call Pilata Commish. So, reserve that right for him. He's going to be very shortly will be known as Commissioner Emeritus. So we're going to give him that status. We'll confer that to him.
Okay. You've worked hard. During the past forums that we've had together leading up to the primary, you were successful in being the top vote getter for your particular race. For folks who don't know, and I hate to beat this into the ground, what are your particular duties as a commissioner? Talk to me about the proud things that you've done while being elected as a county commissioner.
Well, it's almost a freelance thing. You're left to your own devices to lead. And being a former city councilor, a former selectman, there are a lot of programs and initiatives that I have been exposed to that, if brought to a county level, could be explored to better the county. The county is comprised of 27 communities, 26 towns, and one city. We are principally responsible from our history to be the people that run the courthouses. There's a shire town in Plymouth and a shire town in Brockton. And those were the government business from all the way back to the 1700s took place, and county government was the prevailing government. And now we have morphed into fewer counties than originally because of bad elected behavior and poor fiscal management. It's kind of funny. I would never admit this, but it kind of dawns on me that, county government really has a place, Kevin, but maybe not in an elected form. Now, I know that's unique as someone who's looking to be reelected, but if it were appointed, I think it would be so much more efficient. I find ourselves at times competing with the Commonwealth for programming and resources. At one time, the county used to derive it still derives its income from deeds excise. But back in the 80s, it was 42 cents of every dollar transacted at the Registry of Deeds would be the revenue stream for the county. In addition, back in the day, we had the county jail system, which was also a profit center for the county, which was done away with in 2010. Now, today, we're at 10 cents on the dollar. We have a $10 million budget. And to be effective, in county government, you want to be able to offer communities programs that take advantage of, just the nature of bulk purchasing and in combining of buying power in one aspect, but you also want to be able to serve a purpose where it may be lacking in a community. I can answer that question in a million different ways, but, we oversee the healthcare system, the retirement system. We have properties throughout the county that are in different uses, like for 4-H. That's one of the programs that I've championed in the last year. We have a closed landfill that has to be dealt with, that we have some ideas for. We have 100 acres over in Plymouth that was known as the Woodlot that is available for disposition. So there are many things that the county does. And again, we've created some programs like Plymouth County OPEB Trust, which is an IRS-approved retirement benefits program to handle health care for retirees. We created a rainy day fund in my time. They never had a stabilization account. We had to go and petition the legislature so that any excess monies could be put away for a rainy day. We did the maintenance of effort, which was the retirement legacy costs of the jail employees. When the state took over the jail, they took the asset, the real estate, but they left behind the legacy costs for Plymouth County taxpayers to pay. And we were able to successfully lobby the legislature to where from the deeds excise tax, there's actually a surtax of 10 cents on the dollar for every dollar transacted, dedicated solely to retiring those benefits. So I mean, I can go on. I know we only have a short time together, and I want you to ask some more poignant questions so I can get the answers that you want out to the communities.
I'm somebody who has followed county government, not by choice, but because as a journalist, as a reporter, as somebody who likes having conversations with folks at different levels of government. I've prided myself on getting a little background and information in history. Folks may or may not know that of the three originally created counties here in Massachusetts, I believe, along with Barnstable and Bristol County, Plymouth County was one of the first three that were created as counties here in Massachusetts. That's according to some little history that I was able to dig up here. But over the past several years, prior to your being elected, there were a lot of issues. There were conversations about whether the county should go away. Is there a need for the county? Abolishing county government? A sizable budget deficits. Since yourself, Commissioner Pallotta, and Commissioner Wright have, been on the board, I feel that your group has worked steadily to try to pare down that budget deficit and try to lobby the state to give you back more of the money that it takes from your receipts, that it takes from the Plymouth County Register of Deeds. Talk to me about, being in this race, knowing that you're one of the ones who have been a true champion of county government. And while maybe others might have a facade of not so much being a champion for county government.
Well, I think you hit it right on the head there. And in fact, you lived through this. You actually reported this. So you have firsthand knowledge of what transpired. I inherited a mess. We had $64 million in debt on the county level. The year I took over in office, we had a $750,000 structural deficit and had no means to pay it. I came in full of ideals. I wanted to create a Plymouth County trash cooperative. I wanted to do a solar initiative, and quickly found out there was no money in the treasury to actually do anything. So with that, I was able to work with my colleagues. And, the funny thing, Kevin, is, this is not partisan. There's two Republicans and one Democrat, and we work well together. And if I can say, in our whole 8 years together, I think I can count on my hands how many times we've disagreed. We're very fortunate to have a great team in the county, and John Buckley, the Register of Deeds, Tom O'Brien, the county treasurer, Dan Pallotta, for all of his, fooling around that we do, is probably the smartest public servant that I've ever dealt with. We just have to work on his filter. And of course, Sandra Wright is so solid and so focused on the issues. I think we had to overcome a lot. As I spoke to earlier, the reason county government was abolished in certain parts of the county, of the Commonwealth, were because of poor leadership. And, the bad boy behavior of the previous regime, wanting to end county government. They were selling property to balance the budget. They were fulfilling these crazy contracts that were so back-end loaded that they were hell-bent on putting us out of business. But we were able to overcome it. We were able to lobby our friends in the legislature. And I think that's the biggest benefit that I bring to the table, having been a city councilor in the city of Quincy, a selectman in the town of Pembroke, appointed regionally to the state plumbing board, to being on school department, as a member of the housing authority. There is a myriad of groups that I can lobby on particular interests on behalf of the county. In particular, when it comes to legislation, my reach and friendship to other elected senators, representatives, helps Plymouth County because of those friendships. So we've been very fortunate to put together a coalition of the other counties. I sit as a member of the State County Commissioners Association. I'm the recording secretary. And from there, we send out policy for the other counties to enact that particularly impact us all, but individually, we have our own reasons for supporting them. And we get into our legislative delegations. We do a grassroots approach, and we've been very close. One big initiative that we're working on, and we've worked on since day one, is changing that formula of 10 cents on the dollar. We proposed 42 cents, but we couldn't get it to where it could be reported out of committee. We went to third reading twice. The last compromise was 27 cents on the dollar, which we were extremely close. We hope to reintroduce that in the next session. And if we're successful, that'll make us a more proactive form of government as opposed to reactive. So, you know, we're on the upside, that's for sure.
If you are just kind of tuning into this conversation, we are speaking with Plymouth County Commissioner Greg Hanley, who is up for re-election on the November ballot. It's interesting and noteworthy that the county commissioners did something that many saw as brazen, but saw it as an opportunity to ensure that the 27 members were able to have COVID-19 funds. Talk to us a little bit about pursuing the CARES Act funding through the federal government and how well that program has been doing since you've taken the reins of that $90 million from the federal government.
Well, you know, it's funny, Kevin. I feel like I've aged 5 years since April. Back in March, Congress created the CARES Act for municipalities and cities and towns that had unanticipated COVID-related expenses. And they put together by population a program of communities or counties that were eligible for funding. And how it came down was Plymouth County was allowed to participate because we had over 500,000 people in the county. And we successfully applied for and received $93 million from the federal government because we felt as if we wanted to help the governor. Governor Baker has done a fantastic job at managing this. And with each and every turn of programming, he commits his already overburdened work staff. And we felt that we had an educated workforce down here in Plymouth County. We have the only certified treasurer in the Commonwealth for counties in Tom O'Brien, a Georgetown graduate. Dan Pilata, another Catholic University guy, worked in DC. We knew that we could administer this program because we had done it previously. And if you remember back in 2010, when the market, 2008, the market crashed, there was Americans Reinvestment and Recovery Act, ARA they called it, and Plymouth County administered funds to our member communities. And we had experience in doing so. But when the governor saw that, you know, we grabbed their share of the money, they have 55% of the money, $112 million at their resources for Plymouth County. We just felt we knew our member communities, our administrators, our treasurers on a first name basis, and that we could develop a program that could get money in their hands. We were kind of under attack, and I don't want to badmouth the governor, but they felt as if we couldn't do it because they had no experience in dealing with us. The Secretary of A&F put out a countywide letter saying that we weren't qualified to do it. They raised a number of issues that we've addressed through professionals. We went out for bid and sought the services of an auditor, of a legal team, and an accountant, just because of the issues raised in the A&F letter. In fact, they actually did us a favor by doing that, because when this is all said and done, Kevin, there's going to be audit time. And right now, we are being sought after as a national model. Other states are calling us to find out how are we actually doing this, and how are we doing it in a way that prevents fraud and protects the taxpayers' money. So we've done a tremendous amount of work. We have 4 rounds of funding that is already approved. School systems, councils on aging, veteran statuses, libraries, emergency management, first responders. We're just in hard-hit communities like Brockton. We have put together weighted measures by population and by need, where we're getting that money into their hands And we're turning people into believing in county government, and that's the biggest thing. It's very gratifying. It wasn't so much in April and May when we were going through the ringer, but I am so happy that we did it and stuck to our guns. It's really making a difference in people's lives.
We would be remiss just digressing back to Commissioner Dan Pallotta. I think he is a self-professed blue ribbon goat milker, and he would tell anybody who would listen to him as he is a fan of the 4-H. We just got 2 or 3 minutes left here. Anything you want to say in closing, or that you want to say in regards that if you are reelected, what you will focus on for the next few years as an reelected official?
Well, I think part of government is actually listening. And every year after a new election, we go on a listening tour and we find out what the needs of the communities are, what the common needs are, because when we can combine our intellectual property, just problem solving skills, I think listening is a big thing. And when we identify common things that impact us all, I think we're able to be more effective. Right now, we're in the midst of applying for, with the federal government, acquiring the Brockton Armory for veterans homelessness. And it's in conjunction with Congressman Lynch's office, Mayor Sullivan of Brockton's office, and some service providers, Nathan Hale Foundation with Chris Hart down in Plymouth. We have the Charity Guild of Brockton with Laura Strice, and we're building a coalition with Massachusetts Veterans Affairs people to address that. It's an epidemic within a pandemic. And if you look at that population, the ones that are homeless, they're struggling the most, and they're the ones that need our support, our faith in what they did for us as active duty people. It's our duty and our responsibility to take care of them. So with that, Kevin, I'm always available to the public, always open-minded, looking forward, if I'm fortunate enough to be reelected, to continue in the hard work of county commissioner. And I thank you for this opportunity, Kevin. You've always been fair in asking the questions, and I like when you ask the tough questions because they're real. And I want to thank you again for this opportunity to say hello.
And just real quick, if folks want to find out more about your campaign,
GregHanley.org on the internet, or on Facebook, Greg Hanley for Plymouth County Commissioner.
Greg, again, thank you for joining me.
My pleasure, Kevin, anytime.
And thank you for tuning into another episode of Municipal Focus. Until next time, have yourself a great day.